We're now going to heat our foam with a heat gun and see what different effects we get from that. So here is a beautiful tulip that I have made using my heat gun. So this is going to be absolutely perfect for your bouquets. It's going to look gorgeous in a little vase. There are so many different ways to use this beautiful tulip. Now you'll see in here I've used 3 different colours of foam. So I've used crocus, lilac and iris. By mixing and matching the foam colours and getting all the different colours in there, it really helps with the shading. So my crocus I've used on my largest petals. So these are from your recent hedgerow collections. Get the right one. The iris I'm going to use as the middle petal, the middle of the 3 rows, and then the lilac I'm using as the central petal. And I've also cut the stamens out of yellow foam. Now look at this, you can see foam will cut very, very daintily, so it will cut very tiny detail. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of colour. Now it's quite hard to add colour to some of your foams because of the density of them. So I'm just going to add little bits of colour. So I'm going to go in with my sort of on my lilac-y one, a nice lilac. Now we're making something that's very 3-dimensional. So just remember to colour both sides of your foam because you're going to see all sides. So again, I'm just putting in a little bit on the tips, and then I'm going to go in with, that was that one. Let's try this one. This is a bluey one, and it will be the better one to go right on the darkest colour. So it's just to add a hint of colour. And again, don't be worrying too much about the detail. Don't think, oh, I've got to get it absolutely perfect, because again, we're going to shape this in a minute. I've got that the right way. I'm thinking, have I got it the right way around? There we go. And add that one. And then, there we go. Have I done both sides of that? Nope, I only did one side. So now I need to find some colour that's going to look nice on this lilac. I want to put it on that tip bit there. So we shall go with, I think I'm going to go try that one. See, it's the same colour as I've got on there, and see if it shows up. Yes, it shows up. That's probably the best colour match I've got. So again, I'm not trying to change the colour, I'm just trying to add a little bit of dimension, and you'll see it's really only a little bit of shading that this is going to achieve, but it is worth doing. And then, there we go. So that has added my colour. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just move these out the way. So I need my sponge and my large ball tool. I also need my pokey tool. So I'm just warming up my craft heat gun, get the words right. And when it's done, I'm going to just pop it on here. Now watch this. I'm going to lift, and as I lift, it's going to pull the petal towards the heat. Now, I'm not going to turn my heat gun off. I'm just going to pop that on there, and I'm going to just drag it through my sponge, and straight away I've got a little cupped petal. So I'm going to work nice and quickly, holding it at the base, lifting it and pulling away the heat. That's it, the heat gun's getting nice and warm now. You have to work quite quick, and I always find it easier if I can leave the heat gun on. 2, shape and pull. And while it's nice and warm, just straighten it into the shape that you want. And the final one of those. Shape and pull. There we go. And again, we're just going to shape it like that. And that's going to give them that nice cup effect. So I just need to do that with the outside ones, because then the last one will be the cross shape in a minute. Like that. Now don't apply too much heat, otherwise your foam will go quite firm. We're just trying to do enough to warm it up. And don't worry too much, we can shape it with our hands when we've finished. Hold it. The only reason I'm holding it with the end is because otherwise with the heat tool it might blow away. Come on, and come towards the heat. There we go. And it just shapes it lovely. So you get a completely different effect to when you use your craft iron. Third one, pull it up, and there we go. And the final one, a little bit of static, but that will pass. There we go. And there. So it's nice and soft. You get your ball tool in and just add some shape. So the final one I need to do is the centre. So I'm going to pop that down and I'm going to do exactly the same, but I'm going to have to work quite quickly. Pull all the petals up. And then I can turn that craft iron off now, heat gun off now. Bring up, static, bring over my mat, press that down. So I want that cup shape in the centre. And I'm just going to hold that while it cools down. And that should give me a nice cup shape to start off with. And hey presto, can you see that's going to be the centre of my tulip. So before I get going, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to my floristry wire, and then I'm going to take my stamens and I'm just going to twizzle them round. Pop that round and twizzle as we go. Oops, there we go. Maybe a little bit, I'm going to go up a little bit more with my wire. Tuck that in and away we go. There we are, and just roll it round. That will hold that there. All I'm doing is flattening out the glue there. That's perfect. So you can put a hole in first with your pokey tool, but I find the floristry wire is enough. I'm going to go up. I'm going to pop a little, get that out of the way, little blob of glue at the bottom. And then bring it up to there, and then we can just shape it around. Now what I would probably do here is just go in and add a couple of little bits of glue at the base. Can you just see? Just there, so that then I can overlay those just quickly before the glue dries, and that will then make the sort of the bud centre of my flower. Just hold that for a minute, and that's going to give me my bud. And then I'm going to go in with my next layers. So where I've then added the ink, I'm just going to just give them a little bit of a ruffle, just to add the shape. There it is. Now what you can also do is you can also shape them a little bit more with your hands if you want. That's blending that ink, and I can then just bring them into the shape that I want. 2, 3 and 4. So it needs the smallest amount of glue just down at the bottom, and then I bring it round the flower, and then I'm just going to pinch it at the bottom. So that's the first one. Then the second one, I'm going to go 180 degrees opposite, and I'm going to pop that one on there, and then just pinch that around the bottom as well. Now the great thing about hot glue is if you warm it, you can reset it. So if you go wrong, just warm up the glue with your heat gun and you can move the petals around. So that's a good tip. So then I just need to go in and fill in the gaps, just one there, and offer that up. You can see how the flowers coming together to make the bouquet, ready to make a bouquet already, can't you? And then the second one, add in as much shape and dimension as you want. So some tulips are really quite, oops, that's missed that gap there. Some tulips are quite neat and the petals are very perfect. Then some you get that are quite blousy and look like they've been in a forced gale wind. So it's entirely up to you how much shape and definition you put in there. So you can have them as open or as closed as you want. Now I'm really going to add some shape at the end of these ones because these are the outer petals. And shape those. That's really, now when you start to shape with your hands like this, it really softens the foam, so you can get so much more definition in, get it the right way around, shape, and open it out, and then shape, and then open it out. Can you see how pliable they are? Don't be afraid to manipulate the foam, it really will. So fill in the gaps. So I always alternate petals. And then we want to go opposite. So we need to go between those two. And again, we just offer them up. You see it's the tiniest amount of glue at the bottom, and you don't even have to shape it, it naturally shapes itself. And then this one, and that's going to go on just there. And again, if I want it to be much tighter bud, I can then just add some hot glue to bring it all together at the end. And the final petal, and that's going to go just there. But how pretty is that looking? And can you see how silky the petals have gone? Excuse all the glue on my hands. Now, what I would do to finish this off is I would get some floristry tape, pull a piece of floristry tape. So floristry tape isn't sticky when it comes off the roll. Until you stretch it, it doesn't stick. So start halfway, quite close, and then I've got tension in there, and I'm pulling it, and now it's sticking to my floristry wire. Now this is the Fleurs floristry wire that is already coated, which I find is much easier to stick your floristry tape to. I'm going to go up to the bottom to make it a bit like the end of the bud. So I'm just going to build it up there, and then holding that there, I'm going to come back down. So I can come down nice and quickly. Oh, let's slide it back up. We can come down nice and quick, but this is pulling it tight so that it activates that adhesive as we go. And there we go. It always makes a difference if you can add your floristry tape. Either cut it or stretch it off, but this one doesn't want to stretch off, so I'll grab my scissors. There's the end of my wire. Just cut it like that and then shape. But how pretty is that? So adding your dimension with your heat gun looks really, really effective.